Hi, this is Stephen Blair from the Arnold support team, and in this video I'm going to set up an Object ID AOV. An AOV is basically like a render pass or a render element, but in this case I'm going to use the 3ds Max Object ID, which in this little test scene I've already set up. You can see here for that teapot it's 3, this teapot is 2, and that teapot it's 1. And that's what we're going to use for this little demo. So the next step, I already set up a shader that I want to reuse. So I'm going to import, well, it's off the screen, but I'm basically going to import a material. And this is the file here. So it's got a shader set up in it. I'm going to import it. And there it is. That's some extra thing, forget it. But I'll talk about what this does later, but basically you can see it's just 2 nodes wired together, 3 nodes wired together. And that's going to write out my Object ID AOV. So now I just have to use that. So if I open up my render setup, I want to use this as an AOV shader, which means it's something that's going to be evaluated after my objects are actually shaded. So it's something that happens after. Let me move that over here. Just drag that over and miss. There we go, instance. Okay, so I'm going to use this write Object ID AOV node to write my AOV. So that's hooked up now. So all I have to do now is set up my AOVs. So I'm going to open up the manager. I'm going to add an AOV file. I'll just make an EXR. I'm going to add the beauty. Just drag that over. There's the beauty. And notice because I haven't ticked this off or set up anything at the bottom of the common tab for output files, that there won't be anything else output, just this AOV output file, which will include the beauty and my custom AOV, which is an I've called Object ID. I just have to add that to the list, add it over to put that AOV in that file. So I'm all set up, and I'm just going to use active shade to show you. So if I render it, okay, that's hideous, but Object ID red, green, blue. So that's 2.5 minutes. I've got it set up. So I said I would talk about the shader tree a bit. So I'm just going to go back to zoom in a bit. So I have a node here. It writes the AOV out, and it writes to what I call object underscore ID. And what I'm going to output is red, green, or blue, depending on, move over, the value of the object ID, which actually Arnold or Max2A actually stores as something called gBufID. It's the gbuffer object ID. It's actually always written out for objects, so it's always there as user data, and I can get it. So that's like a super quick overview of how that's done. We can investigate it in a little more detail later if you want to really understand how Arnold works, but that's it. I just had to import this material and apply it the way I showed you, and I have my Object ID AOV. That's it. Thanks for watching.